Hello, everybody. Welcome to Trading with Liveball. My name is Stephen Choi, and this is where I trade my Real Reg T account. And you guys can see how I trade it using the LVX platform. Today, I wanted to, usually just talk about my trading, but I wanted to kind of discuss to you guys a little bit about my idea of the relationship between oil, energy, stocks, and airliners. So basically, I've been bullish on the airliners because I felt like the fuel prices was a big component. And especially companies like American Airlines, maybe Delta, if you see Southwest, all these guys, even though some of these guys have big hedges, they've benefited greatly from the oil going down, right? So I check XAL, which is the airline index, and basically, I go around every day and kind of check all the stocks. So there's Delta, there's American Airlines, there's Southwest, there is Spirit Airlines, Hawaiian Airlines, and this was due to, I think, their hedging. So anyway, basically, I feel like most of the time the stock price is implementing an oil price that's higher than it's currently. So let's see. Right. So basically, it's I think my guess is they're probably looking at maybe $55 oil price versus what it could be, which could be in the low 40s, and that's what they're using to project their earnings, right? So recently they've had some negative news in terms of like per seat revenue and how much capacity, et cetera, et cetera. I don't really pay as much attention. I just kind of look at the general relationship. So my thinking was, if you look at Delta, basically it retraced back to like a decent support level. If you look at the earnings, it's pretty stout. It's only 7. So there's a lot of things here that basically makes me bullish, provided if I believe the oil is going to go down, right? So I use USO not to trade, but just to kind of check out how the oil is doing. Obviously, I use the actual prices in the WTC and Brent to look at it as well. The USO is kind of a difficult ETF to trade because there's a lot of slippage. So it's not something I like to trade, but I do look at the charts. So one of the things is that I feel like the energy stocks, even though there are tons of people who are super bullish on it, have not really gone down as much as they should. So if you look at this, right? So like XOM is a perfect example. It's $102 and now it's trading 89. Basically, from its all-time high to currently, we're talking like 12–13%. And oil has gone down, like 45% over the course of the year, right? So if I look at weekly, you can see that last year it was trading $95 with the oil trading 100. Now it's trading $90 with oil trading, 55, maybe 50. So it doesn't make any sense. So I kind of try to do some research, go back in time. So in 2008 was when oil actually went down to $40, right? Because we had that crisis. So you see how Exxon like sold off, and then from 2008 the oil price recovered steadily. But you can see how XOM from 2008 all the way to 2010 just continuously sold out. So every rally was basically sold off, even though the oil prices kept on going up throughout this whole time. And it wasn't until late 2010 was when it actually, the stock started recovering. So I'm thinking, even though like if you look at this, it's barely moved. So my thinking is from it went from 80 to about 50, it lost about 40%, 37 and change. So that's, I think, what's going to happen here. I think it's going to go down to like 70 bucks, but who knows? So that's kind of my thesis per se, right? So my thinking is over the course of next year or something, XOM will basically sell off on every rally. And I do believe that the oil is going to go down, right? So that's my thesis. Also, my thinking is if the market rallies, right? So I like the airline stocks because if the market rallies, I'm hoping that they'll participate in the rally. And if for whatever reason something bad happens, unless I feel like the oil is going to go back to 70 bucks, they have some cushion to the downside. Right, so that's my thesis, and that's why I'm. So I bought these options in Delta and in American Airlines. So you can see I'm down, right? So let me actually go to American Airlines first. And so I bought these calls, the March 48 level calls. I paid 330. And it's just gone straight down, right? So it's gone straight down like this. I had Delta calls yesterday, so I bought them yesterday, and basically they're down as well, even though in the morning it was up, right? So it is concerning me a little bit, just because when things don't happen the way I think, then I'm thinking like I'm missing something, right? So you see oil down 129, which means that the airliners should get a boost. Now, there were times, even I guess less, I would say like even a week ago, when oil would just crash and it'll take down the whole market, right? It didn't matter if you're airline, if you were benefiting from it, because you're a retailer, it doesn't matter, right? Whether you're consumer discretionary or state, whatever happened with the oil price is what the stock market was doing. And the last couple of days, they kind of decoupled, made it seem like people were thinking more rationally, and maybe the guys who had all these algo trading were kind of taking it off because it wasn't working as well, right? That being said, I'm still concerned that, I'm not up. Like Delta and American Airlines should be up much more. Let me actually open up another one. Put it right here. And they're not, right? So they're barely up. I'm kind of hoping. So one of the things I was doing that made my profitability pretty good. And let me actually just talk about it real quick. Is that I tried to limit the losses, right? So one of the things I liked was looked like there was some support in Delta around 45. And American Airlines around 48, right? That's kind of like, I didn't pick it like up here, I picked it down here. Plus, if you look at the USO, the oil kind of had a pretty good rally. Like it had a pretty good bounce, but literally from everything I've read, it looks like it should sell off again, which I'm happy that I'm correct on the oil sector selling off. What I'm not so happy about is that the airliners aren't taking off yet. Now, it may take a little time. I might be just impatient, but one of the things I was doing that made me profitable in the last like 6 weeks have been like, I wouldn't let the losers run too much, right? So I'm thinking about how to control the risk, you know, and so I'll see how it goes. Normally, my risk might have been like, you know, if it went back down and made a new low, I would be out. But recently, I've been kind of toying around with making the risk parameters a lot tighter. So it's not something I have an exact philosophy about, but I'm learning, right? So also in my trading last couple of days, I kind of sucked it up because I bought these puts in SPY. I think in my last talk, I was talking about maybe holding the calls, and I ended up buying the puts. And basically, I was too impatient. What I need to do is be patient, and I need to be patient and wait until I have an absolute great trade to do. You know, so a lot of times I just jump into trades, and I need to be more selective, and I need to wait and see how it goes. So that's kind of where I'm at. So I traded pretty poorly. So you can see how I was doing okay, and then I was doing bad. If you look at my last 6 months, I made about, it's right here, I made about 54,000, 55,000, give or take. But if you look at it, on December 17th to now, I made about 60,000. And this was when I started implementing my new strategy, just because my old strategy of just keeping my position wasn't working. So I would keep it, I would have a good day, but then eventually it wasn't working. So I had to change up my strategy, which was kind of go in at a shorter time, not to hold your positions too long, not to have as much overnight risk, et cetera, which worked out pretty well because the market was very volatile. But going forward, the market might calm down a little bit, which means at that point, if the VIX kind of stabilizes and stays in this range, basically what that means is I have to be in the trade longer, because by the VIX being higher, what it does is it compresses the time period, right? So basically 1 day is same as trading for 3 days, just because the market could move 1% up and down in the same day, whereas if the volatility is low, basically you have to wait 2 days for the market to move up and down 1%, right? So having the higher volatility is basically playing the game in a very condensed time period. So 1 day could be same as 5 days, but if this thing hangs out here for a little longer, then what I'm going to have to do is basically have the positions longer. But like I said, I was a market maker, and I was always the house, and now I am learning to play this game as a player. I've learned a ton in the last year, but I got more to go. But I feel very strongly that once I have a strategy that works, and obviously I have to keep adjusting it, but you can make a ton of money trading as a customer. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I've done well in the last 6 weeks by making about 60 grand, but obviously I was down before then. So it wasn't like I'm up 60. It's just I was down before that time, and I came back, right? So that's where I stand. Just as a summary, I think the energy stock, so something like XOM, is highly overvalued because it's only down like 13%, but it's not something that's going to go straight down. It's going to go up and down, which means like even if you have a bearish bet, it might not work out for you because it's not a straight downward movement. And my thinking is that oil is going to go lower and test the lows. I think that will benefit the airliners for the first couple of quarters, just because their profit will increase dramatically. But that's my thesis. Not sure if it's working out right now. Okay, so they're moving up a little bit, which is good. Just before I got on there, I was getting really worried. And I'm still concerned because it's not really moving as well as I thought, but I'm hoping by the end of the day people be able to distinguish who will benefit from the drop of oil versus who will not be benefiting. So that's what I'm thinking, and hopefully you guys have a good trading day. I know it's a pretty big day in Europe with Greece and Germany. My thinking was, this was a long time ago. I heard this guy from Greece. This was in 2011 when they had their first bailout. He was actually saying that there was no way Greece is going to be able to stay in the union. They'll never be able to pay off that debt. And I think that's kind of what's happening. For Germany, I think what they have to weigh is, okay, if they keep Greece, right, basically that'll continue the euro to be weak, which means that since they're a big exporting country, it should do well. If they start jettisoning all these weak countries, such as Greece and maybe Spain, Portugal, Italy, basically the euro, which will basically be the German mark, will skyrocket, and basically their export business will die, in my opinion. So they're probably weighing the pros and cons because they have massive profits now because of the euro going down so much versus the dollar. So I think there's a decent chance they'll compromise, but there's no way Greece is going to be able to pay that debt back unless there's some massive inflation down the road, and that it's not the same amount of money that they're repaying. So other than that, I'm keeping an eye on it. My general sense in that is that the market's going to rally, just because I was checking out the European markets and it's not really selling off too much. So the stocks that I like in the long term is all these hedge stocks. So I talked about this before, HEDJ, this is European ETF hedged, and then DXGE, this is Germany ETF hedge, and then you have DXJ, which is Japan ETF hedge. So I like all these stocks just because their currency is just getting crushed. I think yen actually went, it's almost back to 120 again. I have some UUP stock. So I'm long the stock, not the option, but I am thinking of possibly putting in some kind of option positions for the long term that I have for the rest of the year. If I do, I'll let you guys know. So take care, and I will talk to you guys soon.